So, the best way to predict the future is to create it. That's how today we are rolling with the topic, the future of Industry 5.0, with guest speaker none other than the founder itself of Industry 5.0. So, a very good evening to our eminent guest, Michael Rana, sir, and to all the listeners who joined in. I, Akanksha Yadav, covering the mainstay for the event, welcome our guest with virtual claps in the chat box. So, welcome, sir. How are you?
Thank you. I am fine. I'm greeting all of you from Czech Republic, which is in the heart of Europe. There are 2 degrees Celsius in the morning, but no snow, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you, sir. Before sir go ahead with today's discussion on the topic that is Industry 5.0, I would like to know from sir about himself, the early education, your interest, and how you get through about the topic, like how you get a thought of something like Industry 5.0.
Uh, my education time was quite short. I have no academic education. So you at the moment are on a higher level than I ever reach. The only time which I spend on university when I teach on university, because I am called for more than 3 years to speak on universities, and there was more than 170 in my life. But I was never a student there, so it's crazy situation. Uh, I have started my a career as a steel factory worker with a very hard job at the time, but I have teach a lot. And then my final position after 23 years was as the only non-Japanese member in a second largest Japanese corporation, European Logistic Division. So I climb up the ladder of management up to the sky, which I can. But at that moment, and this is where I come to the second part of your question, Akansha, I realized there is something wrong. And this wrong part was that I realized that nobody in the world tried to prevent waste happen. And the volumes of waste has been so huge, which I realized at one moment. Then I said to me, okay, when there is nobody, it will be me. And for the first 1.5 year, it was not called Industry 5.0. It was called Industrial Upcycling because the name was closer. And generally, after 1 year of implementing industrial upcycling in a factories in a real environment, I was told by my clients, industrial companies, Mr. Rada, what you are doing is not just a methodology. You created new industry. And I spent half a year to find a name for this industry, to define the principles. And then when I was ready, I wrote an article and published it in my blog. This article is called Industry 5.0 from Virtual to Physical. And it was published on December 1st, 2015. And already from the name you see, it's going against the stream because already at the time everybody say, no, we should go digital. And I said, no, we should go back to people, to human. And that makes a difference. I published it, and the immediate response was so strong. Then it gave me the proof that I am right. And since then, it will be almost 9 years in 1 month's time. Since then, I am every day on Industry 5.0, 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, because I have no other aim than to build wasteless world. And I'm so happy that it speaks to so many. So I hope I was able to answer your questions.
Yes, sir, definitely. It's like by your answer, I got to know that knowledge is important, that is education. But it's not always, for being a success, it's not always the thing that we should go on to the school or colleges or universities by you. Like you said that you never had a great time in universities and all. You just gone for the thesis and all things. So by these things, I got into things. Then you told about the Industry 5.0, how you get through the idea. So why you chose the name 5.0? What's behind scene for this thing?
Uh, a little background. Because I was in logistics, I made one of the presentation in logistic field I make about the development of industrial revolutions. So I know and I analyze them from my point of view, and I realize that the revolution are shorter and shorter. The first one was 160 years, but the second one was 80 years. The third one was 40 years. And maybe you don't know when the Industry 4.0 was introduced unofficially in 2011 in Germany, and it was based on the order of German government to company Siemens. But it took them 2 years to make it official. So in 2013, it was introduced. And in 2013, I realized there is something wrong with it immediately because Industry 4.0 does not think what the people will do. They say, to make it very simple, maybe too simple, but we do not have time. Generally, Industry 4.0 means everything will be done by robots and technology, and the humans will just enjoy. But it does not work. It does not work. Simple. If you will have nothing to do, the first what you will make joke out of your neighbor. This will give you fun. But the next one, you just pick your neighbor because it will be even funnier. And then you take a knife and you stab it in your neighbor because it will be the feeling which you need. It will be begin of war, and this is how wars begins. And I realized that, and I realized that it was so strong that I said to me, okay, if I would like to change the world, I have to change the industries because they are the biggest emitters of waste and wasting. So which language I have to speak with them? I have to speak the industrial language. So I call it Industry 5.0. It was clear decision from me. It was not mistake. It was clear decision. But Industry 5.0 is not a revolution. And that's the difference. It is the first industrial evolution ever led by man, by human. And what is the difference between these two? Generally, you can buy any revolution. You just pay more money to the soldiers and they will shoot for you. And there is a lot of blood behind every revolution. But once evolution started, you cannot stop it. It is evolution. It's here for millions of years. And the only difference that I have this revolution in my head, I carry it in my hands. For 2 years, I implemented the principles before I started to say, it is here. I never promised anything. I deliver results and then I ask to be paid for these results. That's the difference between the revolution and evolution. So this was the story of the name.
Okay, I got that, sir. Thank you so much for briefing us about the name that you chosen for your company. So my next question is whenever we go into any of the challenges or something different we are putting forward in the world when the people are not thinking about that thing. So what all challenges you faced at the time from 2015 when you first took the thought of this thing to convert it into a wasteless thing? So what all challenges you faced?
Uh, it will sound maybe strange, but the first and strongest challenges has been the refusal of the existence of Industry 5.0 by people who you have in your minds like the ones who will like it. Greenpeace, circular economy experts, United Nations, European Union, and many who say we are sustainable, we are. Many of those people told me, Mr. Rada, you will never be able to prevent even 1 single kilo of waste to happen. The waste industry players. Mr. Rada, you and Industry 5.0 will never survive. Industry 4.0 just begin. And these sentences I was hearing every single day. Today, I have 1 million metric tons, which did not become waste. Today, I have ambassadors in 92 countries. Today, European Commission adopted officially on January 7th, 2021, Industry 5.0 in European Sustainable Development Framework. And at the end of the last year, United Nations talk on the World Investment Forum, Industry 5.0 as one of the topics. So this was the challenge. The biggest challenge is all the time that you do not give up.
Great,
If
sir.
you have a
That's
clear image, and I had it, you go for it.
exactly, sir. That's too true. Like if we had dedication, if we have true knowledge, and we are quite focused and confident about our things, we should always walk on to the things. We should never give up. And that's what your industry came up today. And 2022, you're having number of conferences in different colleges and things. And at that time, when you just thought of about this different thing 2015 to this state, it's congratulations, many congratulations for your things and your industry. So now I request to you to enlighten us, all of us, for about Industry 5.0. So, sir, over to you with your presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the information. And let me share the screen with you and tell you one interesting thing. What I will show you and what I would like to share with you is the presentation which I presented 2 years ago on the largest conference, industrial conference in India, organized by CEE, Confederation of Indian Industries. And maybe some of your father's parents, friends, teachers has been part of this conference. But I updated. I updated for information which happened within these 2 years. So it's named the same with one small difference. It's named by the name which I call, which is written on the birth certificate of Industry 5.0, from virtual to physical. But I will speak about the global recovery system. And if you do not see the slides moving, please tell me. My name is Michael Rada. I'm human, and I am the founder of Industry 5.0. Before we start, let me ask you one question or two questions. The first one is who we are, because we have many titles. We are managers, we are presidents, we are chairmen, students, producers, teachers, we are fathers and mothers. We have collected many titles, and with every single one, we are forgetting one important thing, that we are human beings. Living ones, not like this man on County Yard of Pilsen Brewery. We are living ones. And if we know who we are, let me ask you the second question. Where do we live? Because we live in beautiful cities like Roubaix, like Pilsen, Paris, Brussels. We live in beautiful cities which we filled with trash. We work in factories which produce in one day more trash than a city in a month. We produce products which frequently, before reaching the end user, become trash as well, and we store them in big metal houses full with air, calling for more to be built. And at the end of our shift, we walk home next to the output of our hands. And we arrive home, and maybe we realize that something what was called food before, it's called bio-waste today. And we look at the red sky above our heads and we ask ourselves, where do we live? I will tell you that. We are living on this planet, it's called the Earth, and once it was called blue marble. We are living on a planet around which in few decades we have been able to create a landfill with more than 170 million pieces of space debris. Pieces smaller than 10 centimeters, but you have to add another 650,000 of 10 to 30 centimeters. and 80,000 above 30 centimeters, there is a landfill on our orbit. And what we do to the planet itself? We dig inside. We dig for only criteria of success, which is more. No matter what you are speaking about, more is the only criteria. More cars, more money, more people, more homes, more. Ask Fortune 500 companies. Ask Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Jack Ma. Ask those people what is the rating criteria. It's more. We are living on a planet together with 7.9 billion people, not knowing that 200 years ago it was just 1 billion, and 100 years ago it was just 1.5 billion, which means that despite 2 world wars and 2 world pandemics and more than 650 local war conflicts, there are 5 times more people living on a planet, and in 2050 there should be 11 billion. Do you see the slides?
Yes, sir. We can see the slides.
Okay. There should be 11 billion people. And just now, remember the last picture which I showed you. Do you know what is the car production line takt time? So how fast a car leaves the factory? It's 47 to 54 seconds for a new car. But do you know how much time spent the parts on the way? 90 days. This is the value added time is 47 seconds. Wasted time is 90 days. But everybody would like to have a car like this electric fish car, for example. But what is crazy, if you buy a car, you will have a family and you will find out that this car was not big enough, so you will buy a bigger one. And what is even crazier, after you buy a bigger one, your children would like to have their own cars. But please understand, this is not a picture from a parking lot. This is a graveyard of new cars. New cars are being produced all over the globe, but will never be sold, not to screw up the market price. And they are on every continent. There are graveyards bigger than cities. These barrels are filled with zinc dust. This producer produced from zinc and waste 80% of the material which he purchased, 80. The US throw away every single year on a landfills 9.5 million tons of clothing, but 95% not damaged. This mountain at the background is made from single-use plastic, single-use wood packaging, pellets, which are thrown away without being broken, but they are wasted immediately after just a single use. And then when it's too much, such a sign, we don't accept any wood, is being put by the waste industry on the yards. Did you know, or do you know, for what can be used 347 million liters of drinking water? Is just by California refineries every single day to produce the fuel. 347 million liters of drinking water on the same planet where this image is a reality, where one sip of water can save not one but 2 lives. We are living on a planet where we carry our water in firefighting tanks, not knowing that the same amount of water was needed to produce just one and simple hamburger. And if somebody thinks that he or she does not waste, sorry, you are probably not right. Because in average, we waste 25% of a melon, 22% of bread, and almost 40% of a salad. We are living in a wasteful environment. This shelving system is new, cost about 100,000 US dollars, and will be wasted because the factory does not need, they bought too much. So it's waited until I came, I bought it, included in Industry 5.0, and we sold it. This packaging, every single one is a price of $100. There are 6,000 on a parking lot of a factory waiting to be wasted. They are part of it. We have made one big issue. We have built our future on the top of a pyramid, waste pyramid, but have you ever tried to stay on the top of a pyramid? You will realize that it's even hard to stay there. You will not speaking about the future itself. I realized it a decade ago, and I decided to build another groundstone, more stable groundstones, and I call it 6R. And I will show you how does it work. But before, I will tell you how the industry looks like in the age of Industry 5.0. We will decrease the volume of production, but at the same time, it will increase the profitability. The single use will be understood as a sign of failure. And this number, which is even hard to read, it's 475 trillion US dollars, which represent 8 times global GDP. This is the volume of money which can be saved globally if we prevent waste happen. The industries will deliver the results. That will be the evaluation criteria, not number in Excel sheets. And people will use machines wisely, not be used by machines. Wasting will be prevented from very beginning, and transparency will deliver the planning. So as the value will be added by people who will share the majority of profit. This clock was made out of broken vinyl record, cut by hand. And in one of the biggest factories producing vinyl records, every single day, 10,000 pieces are being wasted because of the sound quality. How will the society look like in the age of Industry 5.0? Again, wasting will be understood as wrong. The age would not be taken as a KPI, and the brownfields, the places which are already existing, will gain no new life. We will stop running. We will start walking. And not the stories, but the results will define success, and societies will reunion. And common language, I call it the language of efficiency, will be understood and spoken. And not a quantity, but quality once again will be followed. This logo we introduced 6 years ago. And what is the business scope? Industry 5.0 recognizes 4 types of waste, which can be prevented. The physical waste, which are products and materials, which you put in a waste containers, bins, and landfills. But then there is a social waste, which are people and even animals, which would like to live meaningful life, but are not allowed to. There is urban waste, empty buildings, factories, and in the cities where people without the roof above their heads have to live. And there is a process waste. Do you know that more than 50% of shipping containers run all around the globe without any cargo inside, carrying just the air? This is the reality. Industry 5.0 principles has to be implemented to deliver the change, and there has been delivered to governments of the world, to United Nations, and they are being implemented to industries already. And in India, this started on August 21st, 2020, after my keynote, which was generally the same like you receive right now. Industry 5.0 delivered changes in 3 segments. In economy, because it increased the profitability. In environment, because it decreased the negative impact on the environment. And in education, because it will grow up humans, not components of the system. What was the number of projects? There is more than 150 projects. saving millions of dollars without the need of capital investment. And the roadmap? Industry 5.0 started officially on December 1st, 2015, as I said. And already on August 21st, 2020, the global expansion started. COVID helps to speed up the development and the information. European Commission adopted, United Nations are speaking about, and this is what we do. And the first Industry 5.0 ambassador was established on October 14th, 2020 in India. His name is Shivarao Chala, and he is running his own company 3R Zero Waste. India, for me, is the forerunner of Industry 5.0. I have realized projects in almost all industries, which you can imagine. And in the whole time, there was zero funding, but more than 40 million US dollar has been saved. I have ambassadors in 94 countries at the moment, realized more than 125 projects, make more than 150 workshops. I was a speaker, wrote myself more than 3,000 articles, and drive more than 350,000 kilometers in my car. We have created, or we are creating, Industry 5.0 world, which is the new environment which will share the existing on-the-ground mines with others. And we will learn from that how to use and utilize technology for good, not just for making the money. We can go and make trouble to treasure, and this is one example, and others will follow. Visatech is a small Czech company which produces a machinery which can turn single-use plastic waste and Tetra Pak into a construction material which you can build your houses, furniture, floors, roofs out of it without damaging the environment and helping the environment instead. There exists a technology which can save 95% of water during firefighting. It's called dry fog firefighting. It's unique in the world. And if you imagine the impact, especially if you understand that the standard firefighting hose, 850 liters goes in 1 minute through this hose, and you can save 95%. Reconet was a project introduced in pandemic times to help to end up the pandemic. It was the first post-pandemic recovery project in the world. And still, all the technology is available. We have to use things which we have, like advanced planning systems, which can help to reduce the horrible numbers which you see here. 75% of global crop never reaches the second stage of production and is being wasted. 60% of kitchen waste is because of wrong planning. 90% of retailers do not use advanced planning systems at all. But the accountability and the exact number they can deliver thanks to these systems, accuracy up to 98%. And we have to change the education, because not just listening to speech of one, but a communication has to be existing. And this is important. And we even develop a rating, which we would like to introduce in 2022, which will be very simple. It will be a number and a color. The red one means the company does nothing for environment. The blue 10 means they are doing all they can. And this is what we would like to introduce. This is a 3D printed item, serving to put it, screw it on a bottle, and you can put your lemon inside without wasting a single drop. Ladies and gentlemen, Industry 5.0 is the first industrial evolution ever led by man, by human. It's built on the principles of systematic waste prevention and it's changed the mindset from wasteful to wasteless. It delivered the result without the need of capital investment and it's utilized the on-the-ground minds. And please understand, Industry 5.0 is not a sales tool or a buzzword. If somebody tells you that, he is lying. Don't trust him. I would like to thank you for your time because you gave me the most valuable assets which you ever had. I am looking forward to meet you. And just now, I would like to end up with two more slides.
Okay, sir.
We are living in the, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's correct because we are living in a times of digitalization of our work. What you are looking at is the time when the human will be digitalized. Then our world and our home will look like this. It will be a black screen because data don't need any light. But I realized that a decade ago, and I decided to build another world, wasteless world, and this is my home. And we have started on January 1st project called 17th, where I say that we can recover the planet, economy, ecology, ecosystem, and society within 17 months' time. So I hope to see you in this project. My name is Michael Rada. I am a human, and I am not alone. These are the countries in which Industry 5.0 ambassadors has been assigned already within 1 year time, covering 85% of global population. So thanks a lot for your time. And it is right now your decision to take whether you would like to live on a global landfill or on a planet called Blue Marble. I took my decision already, and I would like to work with you and work with you on a construction site of Wasteless World. And that was the last slide. I'm switching back, and there is a time for your questions now.
So
and
it
I
was.
can.
Yes, sir. Carry on. Carry on.
I am happy that I can look at your faces right now because before I cannot. You can ask if anything.
It was
Sir, I have a
really
doubt.
great. I can say that your presentation was telling us that we can make our earth, our home, a better place by just removing this waste that we produce it in an hour, in a minute. So it was very great. It was very motivating. And so I would like to say that this industry, that is 5.0, is an industry that does not speak about sustainability but producing sustainability on a global level. So this is the concept of Industry 5.0 is just totally depicted in the your presentation. So now we have Seven Sir, who is one of the ambassador of Industry 5.0 in Norway. So I would like to ask Sir, would you want to add something? Seven Sir, I guess
If
I'm
you are
pronouncing your.
comfortable in Hindi, then you can
I,
ask in Hindi.
I'm here. I'm sorry, I have my grandchildren around me, so there's a lot of noise here. No,
Can
it's
you
a, it's a,
show him?
yes.
Can you show
So,
him?
No, you can speak, Swain. There is this.
Can
yes, sir.
you repeat the question to me and
Okay.
Nasha?
Okay, I just said, would you like to add some point for the Industry 5.0 as you are one of the ambassador of Industry 5.0 in Norway?
Yeah, I think before the presentation was done, we had a short discussion between ourselves, and I know from own experience that we tend to waste a lot of products, both in Norway and around the globe, and we need to be aware of it. we need to be aware of it every day, because all which are produced on a global scale uh, will end up as waste if we don't find alternatives for it. And even in Norway, we can see from articles that are published in the press that there are individuals without being instrumented by government or others. They find themselves that there are things they can do in order to make sure that the world goes in the right direction to more sustainability. We can see that within building constructions, buildings that are torn down because they are not any longer serving, or they need the space, they have found that they can use the floor elements in new buildings. We have found that uh, batteries which are regarded as out of use, they have found that these batteries can be extended the lifetime with 30% by introducing artificial intelligence and machine learning. So there's a company in Norway that are bringing this out globally. And similar things like this is happening all around in Norway, and I know that it's done also globally. But we need to change the mind of people in order to understand that there is materials and uh, uh, valid goods in our environment which we need to take care of, and in a better way than we have so far.
Exactly, I totally agree with you, sir. We have to change the stereotype mindset of the people that waste is not only that is bad thing. We can convert. I saw in the PPT that we can convert so many waste things into very beautiful things. So why not we take a step to make this a place, better place to live in, by just converting waste? So it was really shocking. It was really a great learning for me too. Like if we can do something very good for the taking these waste things, then it's amazing. And I seriously, yes sir, carry on.
I would like to step in and say one important thing, which I mentioned on Friday on another conference in India related to single-use plastics. Please do understand. Once you produce the waste, it will be here. If you take waste as a treasure, as a resource, and you get money out of waste, you will never try to prevent it happen. So the first one to change is to prevent it happen. And this is why Industry 5.0 is here. We are not waste management company. We are not waste management business. We are trying to prevent the waste happen, which is very different. This is why generally, if you look at the circular economy who say waste is treasure, then this is the result, because if for someone is waste a treasure, he or she will never try to get rid of the waste. And this is the bad part about it. So this is why Industry 5.0, and this is why Sven mentioned it right, we can prevent it. It can be prevented by better design. It can be prevented by better use. And even, this is a single-use bottle. Many people told me, Mr. Rada, how can you have a single-use bottle in your office? But for me, it's not a single use, because after I've emptied, I fill it with water and I use the same bottle again. And this is the different approach, because I can refill it 10 times, 100 times. Maybe at the end, I cannot drink out of it, but my flowers will be happy to have the water out of it. And this is the difference. So I don't think that it is needed to crash a product into material before we use it again. I think we can use it again without it. And if you use it second time, please try it. It's quite interesting. And I will give you one more trial to try in your class. I don't know, I suppose that you have in your classroom garbage bin, some small one probably, to put your garbage in, usually one. Try to put in your room two. You will wait 1 day or 2 days and you will fill two. If you put three in there, it will take 1 day and all three will be filled. This is what your mindset does when you have place to scrap thing close to you. You just fill it, you don't think, you just throw it away. And the second part of this try, takes two of these three away. What is interesting? The next day there will be still trash around the one which is remaining, but the day after, one will be enough. This is how the psychology of human works. If there are more bins, you will generate more waste. It's strange, but it works so. We make the trials in many factories, many school classes. It's all the time the same, which means if we reduce the volume of waste bins, we will reduce wasting because the people will think more what to do with the item and maybe they will reuse it. You can try to refill the plastic bottle. So that's just one small thing to explain that we are not speaking here about the waste management or waste processing. We are speaking about waste prevention, which is the very opposite and which is the reason why the waste industry is trying to silence my work from the very beginning without being successful.
Exactly, sir.
What
Got it.
Michael is teaching here is an important to notice, and also I can tell that in my country, in Norway, we have different sorting bins, like he's saying. In my own house, we have 5, in fact. But the strange thing is that when people try to clean up their basements or garages, they take their what they regard as waste to the environmental station to be wasted and recycled. But in our neighborhood, the station has done some investigations and check of what they bring into that station, and they found that 40% of the load that they are bringing to the station, they could take out and take it to their shop for reusable items, which means that we need to think and rethink how we treat and what we do with all the products that are around us. Even though they look like for one-time use, there are possibilities to reuse.
Exactly, sir. I totally agree with you that we should always think once when we are wasting something or like doing, like throwing something, that we can reuse it or not. So, sir, Michael, sir, your next question is: we all know that 2019 was a year of COVID, and for many people, the COVID proved it to be good also, and in other times it proved it bad too. Of course, for the medical people who are like who just got infected with the COVID, it's bad for them. But we know that in the screen word with this COVID things comes up, many industries, many companies emerged. So how it affected or it was good for Industry 5.0? What's your say?
In 2019, before COVID, my plan was to make a world tour with Industry 5.0. Physically, I plan to travel to 30 destinations to establish offices there. Thanks to COVID, I was able to make the same without the traveling, which means online traveling only, in 94 countries. So, and many people wake up and understand that the waste prevention is the key. So for me, COVID in this way helps. And I will show you one thing which is related to COVID. I spent 2 years with this on my face. This is my face protection. This is my mask. And this is not single use. This filter is nanomaterial, and I use one filter for 1 year, which means even that this device was much more costly. It cost about $100 a piece. I spent less money than the people who buy every second day a single use face mask. What is important, there was no waste at the end because I have only this mask and I can clean the filter inside. Of course, I look crazy the first days in when I start to go into shops with this on my face. But it took about 6 months when the people start to ask me where I get it because they would like to have the same protection. And this part, this is produced in my country generally. It's even supplied to US Army and so on. So it was produced before COVID already. And this was the first mask which was bought to Czech president and for his people. And you see, this is one of the examples which you can show as a role model, to be the role model to the others. Because all the time I make the explanation, I told the people, because you cannot have a higher protection than this one on your face. And it is interesting. And regarding the COVID, you are right, there are many waste being generated through COVID, including the single-use tests and so on. And yesterday, I have a quite interesting discussion with one designer from France, a young designer in your age, who redesigned the COVID test, the standard plastic COVID test, which you probably have in your hands. And he tried to reduce the volume of plastic inside this test. And he was able to reduce the weight by changing the design by 2 grams. And even these 2 grams make a huge amount of plastic on a global scale. And when I saw his post, immediately my brain says, okay, that's nice, but do you know that the functional part of the test is just a paper stripe inside? So why should we have a plastic body? We can have a reusable body in which will be the plastic stripe or the paper stripe inside, which we just turn after use. And we will have just one body. And I sent this message to him and he said, wow, I never thought about it. And I will design a new one. And that's exactly the way. We have to change our mindset. Because if I change one plastic to another, and this is to what I call to businesses, the issue, if we speak about plastic, the issue is not plastic. The issue is single use. And if I can, I will share with you one page, just one page, don't worry, it's not long. I have spent 8 years to write this page. And as you have seen, there are many articles being published in the meantime. But this one page, I spent 8 years to write it down. It's called Waste Prevention Legislation or Policy, because nothing that can be used or utilized again must become waste. Everything must be considered as a primary, as waste existing resource and remain in the system. And the secondary use or utilization is not limited to a primary function of a product or material and can be executed by everyone respecting the regulations and safety conditions. And collecting, sorting, baling, trade, and transportation are not being anymore considered secondary utilization, and even not utilized on a primary location, it must be offered to others before being wasted. And please understand, there is no waste if we do not waste. And have you ever thought and consider that not a single legislation in the world has definition of wasting, because wasting is the process of generating waste. So I have to write it down. And it's the first time in human history when such a document was written, because wasting is the process in which product or material of any kind, form, or volume become waste. In fact, wasting is a system failure and must be prevented first without any limitation or legal restrictions. And please understand, wasting is not a feature of a product or material, but the result of human behavior. And single use represents one of the most applied forms of wasting. We have this legislation already in Hindi. We have it in other 26 languages of this world. And it was introduced on September 1st, 2021. It was sent to United Nations with the request to establish 31st article to the Human Declaration, to the Declaration of Human Rights. The article which is called the right not to waste. And this is important.
Exactly.
So if any questions?
Exactly, sir. So I am over with my questions. If any one of you have any questions and want to interact with sir, you are like you can go.
May I?
Hello, yes?
Firstly, sir, thank you for spending your valuable time with us.
You're
And
welcome.
so my question is to you is what is the impact or role of computer science like IT in this Industry 5.0?
For me, yeah, I do understand. For Industry 5.0, computers, artificial intelligence, IoT, all the new technologies are tools, but not rulers. So we shouldn't make our time because the computer says I should go to bed, because my smartwatch says I should go to bed. No. The smartwatch is here to help me, not to tell me what my body tells me. So I warn and I try to use IT and everything what is going, and I have a lot of things from IT as a tool, because I don't know how it's in how it is in India, but in my country we have one saying: fire is a good friend, but is a very bad king if it takes over. And this is exactly with the IT and technology. I showed before this meetup, before the official part, I showed this phone, Nokia 631E. It was 3 years in line, the best business phone in the world. And this business phone teach me how to get rid of the addiction on smartphone, because it let me only phone and send SMS. So please be in line with the new technology, use it, but don't let the technology use you as a tool. It will be very bad direction. That's my advice. Any more questions? Hi. Thank you for this question, because you touch one very important point. There are people who misuse the name of Industry 5.0 for selling machines and technology. This is exactly the part which you are speaking about. These are not my words. This is not the origin of Industry 5.0. These people have money, they have power, and they try to say that Industry 5.0 is new machine, new technology, artificial intelligence is not. These are lying, these are liars, and stole my work, stole the name of Industry 5.0, and do not respect any principles. Because if we will go this misleading way, you are right, the people will not have place to work with. And there will be wars, and there will be people who will have nothing to eat because the robots will do everything. So please avoid this direction. It's misleading. And I am the right. I was not able to patent the name of Industry 5.0 because it is too general. But according to intellectual property, I can call myself the founder of Industry 5.0 and the father of Industry 5.0 because the article which I mentioned, which was published on December 1st, 2015, was the first in the world which define and specify the content of Industry 5.0. So please, if somebody tells you Industry 5.0 is new robot and machine together and machine and human, no, it's not right. Industry 5.0 is based on the systematic waste prevention principles, and robots, machine technology are tools, but not rules as they try to push. So be very careful about it. And if you see it, you can send it out to me. And there are many powerful people who try to screw it up the name without any relation to real Industry 5.0. So be very careful and don't be those who do this. Any more questions?
Yes, sir. I hope that I am audible.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So, sir, first of all, thanks a lot for providing your valuable time. And my question to you is, it's a general question I want to ask that you faced several problems while introducing this topic to the world. And what is your expectation that how much time it will take the world to adapt this mentality of waste management and how people can grow? And I also want to hear one message that you will be like to provide it to the world leaders, that this is the main reason that if you got a chance that you should apply these policies in your country so that you can improve the waste management and introduce 5.2 industry 5.2 in your country.
Thank you for the question. I will answer with a question as well. The question which I asked for 8 years, the CEOs and owners of companies. Only one question. Do you want to generate waste or profit? There is nothing in between. You generate one, and waste means cost, or you generate a profit. If I ask people in the street, I ask slightly different but the same question. Do you want to live on a landfill or on a blue planet? On both groups, the answer is same for 8 years. And I have the honor 2 years ago to be part of a conference where the unofficial waste pickers from India has been invited. And I have the opportunity to ask one of the informal lady who was there with a translator. I was able to ask her whether the same question. And I will never forget her reply. She said, Mr. Rada, I will do. And she was living with entire her family on a landfill. Landfill was her life, her home, her work, everything what she has. And she said, Mr. Rada, I will do everything what I can that my children never live on a landfill. Please teach me how to do it. You ask how much time it takes. You know, I was, when I started with my work, I was 10 years ahead of the market. Nobody listened to me because they said, it's crazy, this guy is crazy. Today, it's officially listed in European Commission. It's discussed on United Nations level. In India, I have over 2.5 million views and hits on my keynote speeches. It is here. I have assigned ambassadors in 94 countries. It is here. And right now, from the January 1st, I set up a goal to deliver the result in 17 months' time. 1 month is gone. So we have 16 months' time. When you and every one of you spread the message, I can send you the translated or the English and translated waste prevention legislation, and I ask you, spread it with your network, take it with you, and the most important part, you must be the role model before you ask others to do this. Because the politicians don't act like so. All the politicians ask you to change without them to be changed first. But and not only the politicians, the world leaders, the rich people, and so on. So the rich people benefit from your landfills, not you. You pay for the landfills, but they get money out of it. The waste industry is at the moment the third most profitable industry in the world, after war industry and crude oil industry. And you know in which bad situation is the crude oil industry. So the World Bank predicts that in 2 years there will be war industry, which will all the time remains the most profitable, and waste industry. Do we want to live on a planet where these two industries are leading the profitability? I don't, and I will do everything which is in my power. I am just a simple man with simple aim to build wasteless world for all. And I am the proof that every single one of you can change the world. And I know if we do it together, holding one rope, pulling it in one time, in one direction, that it is us who move the world. And this is why I enjoy the time spent with you, because, you know, none of us will be younger. I was 50 in December. And I would like even my grandfather, which is in 1 month 99 years young, I would like him to have a look again in the wasteless world, because everyone deserves it. No matter whether we are young, old, men, women, educated, non-educated, it doesn't matter. For me, every single one of you is human. And you saw what I have on my business card. And when every time when I say the word I am human, I have a goosebump on my skin, because I had never in my history more valuable title on my business card, and it's not a joke. It's really my business card. So my answer to you, 16 months. If you will be on board, if you help me to deliver, if you spread the word, and if you would like to connect with me, please, you have to send me on LinkedIn. You have to send me your invite, because I cannot send to all of you the invitation because of the limits. I will put one more time my LinkedIn profile in the chat. No, for some reason I cannot access the chat anymore. Yeah, it is okay. It is there. It is there. So it was some issue with me, but it should be there. Yes. So please send me your invite. Connect with me. You can become Industry 5.0 heroes. Yes, heroes. I can tell you what to do, but you know what to do. It's in your heart. It's inside. Prevent the waste happen. Don't concentrate on the management. Be the first one who lead the others, and you have the power. Your university is one of the leading private universities in India. And even if you are listening from other parts of the world, it's you. It's not me, I can help you, but it's you.
Thanks a lot, sir. We will
You are
definitely
welcome.
work on that topic. And I personally am connected with you earlier, and I have already started it, but need to know your vision, that what is the future of this industry 5.0, and you clearly mentioned all the answers to my question. Thank you, sir.
May I have one question to all of you who are listening? If we can, before we end, if you can switch your camera on, and usually when I speak with my ambassadors and with the other peoples, we end up the call with this sign. This does not mean that I am number one. No, it means we follow one aim, and this is to build wasteless world. So if you agree with me, so just before we end, if we can make this, I will make a screenshot and I will share it with the world that it is great group of people who will build the world. So 3, 2, 1, smile. Let me check whether it's saved because sometimes it's not. Yes. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Any more questions? Anyone?
I have the
Thank
time
you
if
so
you
much.
have the question. Yes?
If anyone have any more questions, they can unmute themselves and ask and interact with sir.
Hello,
And there
sir.
are
Am I
no.
audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to ask one question. If you were to define Industry 5.0 in one word, what would it be?
I cannot do it in one word. I can do it in one sentence. And this
Okay.
is Industry 5.0 is the first industrial evolution ever led by man, by human. This is how we define Industry 5.0, the original and principle.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any more
Hello,
questions?
sir.
Yeah.
I'm audible.
Yes. Yes, you are.
Sir, how to recycle space traces like satellites and all? They are also big issues for our Earth.
Yes,
Uh,
space business.
Like,
there
sir,
is,
Tesla launched a Starlink cluster of satellites more than 40,000 in his project, and that's big issue.
I know. And you know what is crazy? In 2014, when I started, Richard Branson, this is the owner of Virgin, and Land Rover started a challenge for a visit to sky, generally to space. I took part because one of my first challenges was to clear up the sky, the orbit, to clean it up. Unfortunately, then there was a big accident. Some people die in the rocket, so they blows it up. And generally, for almost 10 years, there was nothing first last year. How to clean it? That's a good question. For me, it's hard to answer because I was not there. And you know, I need to touch the things, I need to see it. But what I think is wrong is to put more garbage on an orbit and one day the satellites, because the satellites are just single use items, and that's wrong. So we should not look for a way how to take it because they do not serve for the first use, but we should look how to use it more efficiently until we have a solution to take it down, because the Chinese try to take some satellites down to burn in the atmosphere, but it's not right because there is a big danger. And recently, I think 2 days ago, it was mentioned that Elon Musk will some of his, I don't know whether it was satellite or something, will be landfill generally on a moon surface. Again, that's a wrong solution. So sorry, I cannot answer it, but I know one thing. If we will send there someone to pick the trash, don't ask me how to pick the trash. I was asked who will pay for it. I will tell you this. If I pick the trash from Chinese, from US, or there is all the time name who own it. These people will pay it because they know very well which value is there. So right now we need just the garbage man to go to the orbit and his work will be paid well. But unfortunately, instead of developing this garbage company to pick it up, we are developing companies to put more trash on the orbit. We go the very opposite way. But thank you for your question. It was a great one. Let's
Thank you, sir.
say, I hope it will be you and me and the others who find a solution. That's the right challenge.
Yes, sir.
We are going with the time, and it's a time bound session, so if anyone have any more questions they can ask, or we can wind up.
So we can finish probably.
Yeah, so I guess there is no more questions. So it was very great hearing you and knowing about Industry 5.0. It was really good, and I guess the all the audience who joined in is now in the setup of a mindset that we should never like go on to waste the things more and more. Rather, we should go with the things to prevent more of the waste, and then managing it. Okay, so the guidance talk is organized by a student organization, StartNet, under the aegis of the Division of Students Welfare, Lovely Professional University. And sir, we would like to thank you, and you give us a great speech, and we would like to thank you. And now it's officially Ayakanksha Yadav officially signing off. You all are requested to leave this meeting. Thank you so much, sir.
Before you leave, let me say last sentence, which I all the time say, please
Yes, sir.
let your time be free of waste and wasting in all its forms, and stay safe. And have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
sir.
sir. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.